right, we're live and we're rolling. Welcome back to The Real Venture, a fresh perspective on real estate, technology, and business trends for young entrepreneurs by young entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Peyton, joined, as always, by my co-host, Luke. Luke, how are we doing today?
Hey, not too bad, Peyton. Good to be talking to you again. And who else do we have here today?
I think we'll let him introduce himself here in a second, but we have Bolun Li, aka Mr. Pineapple, an entrepreneur and CEO of Zogo, a financial company with a mission to make financial education more fun and engaging for young adults, just like Luke and I. Bolun, how are we doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me on the platform.
Yeah, not a problem. We're glad you're here. A little personal note here. You and Luke actually know each other outside of this, correct?
Yeah, Luke and I go way back.
Yeah, way back. And we so Bolun and I went to school together. We met, I guess we would have been like 18 at the time or something like that. But we've been all over the world in random situations together. Spent a weekend in New York with a friend. That was an interesting time. But yeah, we've had a lot of fun over the years.
That's awesome. So, today we want to walk through a couple different things. First we want to, learn a little bit more about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And then also just wrapping up with, a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey. So why don't you give us a little bit of background on what Zogo is?
Yeah, so Zogo is a gamified financial literacy tool that helps people of all ages really to become more financially literate and understand, how to manage their money. We partner with financial institutions across the board, from local mom and pop credit unions all the way up to national institutions like Chase and American Express to kind of distribute this product to their consumers and also to their communities. And one of the coolest thing about the app is it actually pays you to learn. So the more you learn, the more money you make from the app.
So who is the ideal user? Who are you going after?
Well, right now it seems like our ideal users are Gen Z and millennials, with the majority of the users in their early 20s, between 20 to 30 years old. That's kind of the majority of the users. We obviously have users that are in different, younger than 18, also way older. We have 70 years old enjoying the app. So it doesn't really matter, I guess, the age range, as long as they're getting useful information from the app.
Sure. So if you have a thirst for this knowledge, then the app's for you. So that pretty much fits every demographic.
Or a thirst for gift card.
Or a thirst for gift cards. Yeah, can't complain with gift cards.
Awesome. Yeah. And so kind of where are you at today? Like how many users or whatever metrics you're comfortable sharing with us? Like kind of where are you in the country, in the world, and all that?
Yeah, no, it's good. So we've been very much focused on the US for now, and we have over 150,000 users, over 80 financial institution customers, spanning across, like I said, credit unions, community banks, all the way up to the Chase, the American Express of the world. And there's a lot more exciting updates that we have in the next few months. And it's been crazy to see the growth, especially during COVID, and seeing how financial institutions start to see, kind of Zogo really play a more and more bigger role in their digital engagement.
Yeah. So it's like an interesting thing. And when you first explained this to me, I didn't really understand it, but would you mind explaining for everybody kind of the dynamic between you, the financial institution, and the user, and kind of like why the financial institution is interested in kind of playing that role of basically financing gift cards for their customers?
Yeah. I mean, there's a challenge that banks always face is engaging with their customers. If I don't know which bank you guys use, but oftentimes you don't really think about your bank. Like there is a very commoditized product, right? You don't really have a particular feeling towards your bank. And for banks, one thing they've been trying to do is deliver financial education as part of their content marketing strategy, right? They're trying to use that as a way to engage with their community and with their customers. And the way they've been doing it is through very long articles on their website or going into the school and giving presentations on on budgeting and stuff like that, which kids always fall asleep to. So that was kind of how they've been doing it before. Long articles, long presentations that no one pays attention to. So Zogo kind of comes in here with a very innovative and very gamified solutions that the banks can provide to their community. And not only are the bank getting the engagement from their community and from their customers, they're also getting tremendous amount of data on what the users are interested in. So there's also a data play kind of behind the scene. So with these kind of engagement, which translates to retention, and then data, which translates to acquisition. These are the two biggest value proposition for a bank: retention and acquisition. And that's how we're able to secure some of these partnerships.
Yeah, got it. Okay, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And so was that like the plan from the start, or how did you get to that point? I mean, were you thinking, that these folks would want to do that, or how'd you get there?
Yeah, it has really always been the plan from the start, believe it or not. We had a very determined mindset that we're not going to start our own neobank. Like there's so many neobanks out there. We've decided very early on that we will not do that, and we will be a B2B company. And it has been by far the single most important decision we made at Zogo. And we will not have the success we have today without that mindset and that focus. Because the second you go B2C with a company, the banks stop wanting to work with you.
Why is that?
Because they see you as a competitor when you do that, right? Not to say you can't be the Credit Karma or the Nerd Wallet, but believe it or not, these banks hate Credit Karma and hate Nerd Wallet because they like, it's not their own thing. It's not their own thing. And and for banks, Zogo is kind of their own like Nerd Wallet that they're distributing to their customers. They get to customize some of the experiences. They get to collect the data they want to collect. So you can almost think of Zogo as like a Nerd Wallet, but for each institution.
So it's attractive to the institutions because they get to own it, quote unquote, and it comes from them.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So that's interesting to me that you guys made that decision right away to say we're not going to be a neobank. Really quick, two things. One, for our listeners, if you would mind just like kind of summarizing from your perspective what a neobank is, so that they can kind of get that. And then the second question is, do you see yourself becoming a neobank at some point, like taking 1.5 million users eventually plus and saying, hey, we can offer you a credit card, we can offer you a whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I think to answer your first question, neobank is the one of those like Chime, Revolut, some of these banks that use a banking charter as their backend and open up their own user experience in the front end. So that's what a neobank is. Zogo would not become a neobank. That's not the direction we want to go. I would think of Zogo more as an ad tech company than a fintech company. We're very much passionate about education, and we're passionate about paying people to learn. So the next step for Zogo is we're going to expand this vision of paying people to learn to not only financial education, but other sectors as well. But we are big believers that you should get paid to learn.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, right? You're putting all this effort in, and somebody eventually is going to benefit from all that stuff you've learned, and when you're out in the world working for them. I don't know if you know this yet, but kind of where do you see that going? Like, what are some of the next steps after finance that you can apply the same model to?
Yeah, we already got so many inbound from all kinds of industries, so it's kind of hard for me to tell you right now which one we'll pick for the next one. But I can tell you pretty soon we'll be expanding into investing. In-depth investing and also in-depth entrepreneurship. These are the two that we'll start focusing. We'll be building out next.
Yeah, that's interesting. So investing, I was going to ask you, what you think about kind of like this crazy, probably over 2020 and especially now in 2021, just kind of like the very much obsession with like Robinhood and all these, more gamified financial tools. How has that changed, like since Zogo started to now, the kind of like the perception of finance especially among millennials and Gen Z, and how have you guys maybe taken advantage of that?
Yeah, I think it definitely has brought finance front of mind for a lot of the Gen Zers and for a lot of the millennials. Previously, it's not a topic that people really talk about, and now it's more front of mind, which is good for Zogo because obviously we're seeing increased usage on our platform as well. But also with that, it's just a lot of people don't know what they're doing and they're making mistakes, and they think they're making money, but really, like, at the end of the day, it's a zero sum game, right? If you don't know the rule of the game, so you will lose money one day if you don't really know how it works. So there's a lot of people kind of looking for advice, which is why a very logical next step for us is expand into investing, and we already have multiple partners lined up for the content, for the distributions, so on and so forth. So very excited about that.
What are some ways that you can gamify the investing platform? Like, what does that look like?
Well, we're not going to gamify the investing platform. We're gamifying the education of investing, the content delivery, and we're very much focused on the content. So if does that make sense? So we're not going to build like a broker, like a Robinhood on Zogo. We're simply building out, almost like teaching people how to use Robinhood.
Sure.
In partnership with them, and they will pay for it. So
yeah.
So it's almost like that. It's we're the top of the funnel of the acquisition channels for these institutions.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's the saying, in a gold rush, sell shovels or something like that, right? And you're kind of positioning yourself in a way that, whatever the next thing is, the crazy thing everybody's kind of going after, they're excited about, you're positioning yourself to get people involved in it in some way. And right now that's just personal finance, but yeah, I guess the same model can apply to a lot of things. Stepping back from Zogo, like what are some other things that you're interested in, be it business or personal, I guess, but I'm mostly interested, if you had clean slate to start something, where would it be? What would you be working on? Where would you want to do it?
I definitely think there are two things I'm very interested in. One is blockchain and one is mobility. I've just been starting with mobility. I've just been a big fan of cars, and I'm sure, Luke, you know that since a very early age. So being able to contribute to that industry would be really fantastic. And then for blockchain, I just don't think anyone has done anything that is intuitive right now on blockchain, and that's really what I'm all about. Like, I love making things intuitive for people, and I think no one has done a great job creating a technology on blockchain that's intuitive to like a majority of like a broader audience. Put it this way: it's too like technical, and it has like all these white paper, whatever. Like, people don't have time to read. Like, it's not intuitive, and I think there are a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, I mean, I think even in just like what Zogo is right now, you could think about just some ways to get people involved in blockchain, kind of with that same model. I mean, there's a big cost to getting people into it, both monetary and kind of like activation energy. And so, I definitely agree that if you can, both make it intuitive and lower the cost financially of getting involved, there's a lot of opportunity. I guess with Zogo in particular, do you feel like there's any, big mistakes you've made, any big lessons you've learned, kind of in this like big process of just going through idea after idea and now building something that's, very legitimate and generating a lot of money?
I don't think so. I think it's a very gradual process. Have to be patient. There were times that were very tough, and there were times that were very good. But you just have to be patient, I think, and understand that things takes a while to be picked up, and you can't really rush the process because, like, you just can't really rush the process. You have to be patient and believe in the vision you have.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I think that believing in the process and patience is, everybody just wants to get rich quick, right? So somebody comes up with a great idea, they just expect it to take off right away. Is that a lesson that you learned, through this process, or is this something that you actually, started to develop in the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to get rich quick when I first started Zogo as well, and that was not the right mindset. I realized is a lot of the time values are being built over time, and the biggest mistake I would tell you that I did early on is I sold some of my own shares to another investors at a price back in the day I thought it was really really good, and I got a good amount of money out of it, but now looking back, like that was one of the biggest mistake I've made. But that's lessons learned, right? Like it's just I would encourage everyone to understand the value of equity very early on, and understand that things take time, and it's well worth it if you see how the world is going to place out.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, no. So, if you were, saying to somebody who's maybe you freshman year, or somebody who's coming out of college and they want to, work on something that they think they have a good shot at making into a real business, what would you say to them? What are one or two things that they should make sure to watch out for, make sure to do, all that stuff, in order to actually, be successful?
I would say be focused. It's really easy to get distracted by a lot of opportunities, and at the end of the day, you only have so much time, and you only have so much mental energy. Really, at the end of the day, it's not really even about time. It's about the focus of like what you can focus on and be the best at. So my biggest advice is just stay focused.
Yeah, so that, I guess drilling into that a little bit more, are there anything, like any big things you can think of that were kind of tempting for you, and either you maybe went for and you shouldn't have, or you didn't go for and you're happy you didn't, is a good example of that?
Yeah, I mean, freshman year when I was at Duke, like I was part of like 1,000 different things, and I was helping startups. I was doing investment banking. I was doing like 1,000 different things. And I think initially actually it probably wasn't bad, because I got to know myself a lot better and understand like what I like. I learned that I don't like to be told what to do. I learned that I like to create things, and I learned that I like to tell stories, and I love marketing. And I think like with a lot of these learnings, it just it comes together at the end, and it becomes very clear like, what I want to do. So it was good and bad.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine. You've been all over the place. I remember we were sitting outside West Union one of these days. You were telling me, Luke, you just gotta focus up. You don't understand. Like it's all about focus. And now, it took me a little while longer, but I think I'm understanding. I'm understanding what you meant. So yeah, I guess just kind of like wrapping up this part of the discussion. What's next for Zogo? What are if you have 6 months, 12 months roadmap? What's up?
Yeah, obviously we still have a couple pretty big partnerships we're going to be announcing in the next few months, and and then obviously after that, like we have some, like I said, just exciting updates to the app that we're making, and it's gonna be an exciting year, and I can't wait to see where Zogo will be by the end of this year. Like every year something just changed dramatically, especially towards the end of the year, because that's the budgeting season for the budgeting season for the banks. So I just can't wait for us to get to like September, October. Big things will happen.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, and you kind of answered this a little bit earlier, but one question that we always like to ask our guests is, why are you an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think I like to control well, I like to know what my destiny is. Again, I'd like to know that I'm, part of something bigger, and I'm contributing to something bigger. And actually, that's one thing I learned running Zogo as well, that Zogo is much, much, much bigger than myself. Whether it is the headcount, whether it is the impact that it's making, or whether it is the bank account, and it's okay. Like that makes me feel very happy to know that I'm part of something that is way bigger than myself. And it helps me understand like where I want to spend my time, I guess.
Yeah, no, and I definitely think that thought process right there is something a lot of our listeners can sympathize with, because, all through high school and college, you were part of sports teams, clubs, all of these different things, right? You were part of something that was bigger than yourself. And then now you're out, starting your professional career, and, sometimes that feeling gets lost. And I think that that's why a lot of people turn to entrepreneurship, because they seek, many of the things that you just talked about right there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, it feels great.
Yeah. Hey, at the end of the day, if, you're happy and you're doing what you love, then, you're in the right spot. So, before we wrap up, why don't you go ahead and tell all of our listeners where they can find you, plug your social medias, website, apps, stuff like that.
Yeah, just zogofinance.com. That's our website. And then the app is called Zogo. Search it up on Google or App Store. Yeah, you'll get paid to learn.
Hey, that right there.
Zogo. It's so intuitive. Like there's no explanation needed for why banks would use it and why consumers would want to use it. Just get paid to learn.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody, go hop on, download it, and get paid. I mean, that's the American dream right there. So with that being said, also, all of our listeners, we appreciate all of your support. Continue to like and subscribe to the podcast, rate and review. All of those things do a lot of, give us a lot of great opportunities to continue to have great people come on, like Bolun today. And, we look forward to continuing to put out, great advice, content like we had today.
Yep. Keep it real, everybody.